And our first story, the bridge linking Chifopraso and Dunkwano-Fin is in a very deplorable state. Users of the bridge say they fear something disastrous might happen if the bridge and the roads in the area are not given immediate attention. Richard Kojunyako has been engaging traditional authorities and the MP for the area, Abraham Juma Odum, on the issue, and now reports.
The Chifopraso Bridge, once upon a time, fell under the Ghana Railway Authority. Vehicles, trains and people competed for the space above the Pra River. It was a great asset to farmers in the area because they used it to cart goods from the farm gate to the market centers. Now the bridge lies in ruins and poses a danger to commuters. The rail is no more working, leaving only vehicles and people who use it. Politicians who have been here to campaign over the years have not left without making a promise about the bridge and the deplorable roads in this area. But these promises never got fulfilled. Paramount Chief for Etimokwa Traditional Area, Nana Kwesikeni, says the trend must change.
What you are saying is true. We've been making these appeals for the past government. He even told us that the materials which they are going to use to build the new bridge is at the port. It couldn't come on. And at the same time, to this time round, the president also came and says it has been given to some Chinese companies, so they are going to make that road. And up to now, we've not seen anything. So I'm making a passionate appeal to the government to help us to repair that road for us, because it serves about 3 or 4 districts within our area there, within the central region. That of Upper Denchira, East and West, that of that's Ateku, Western region, Chufu Himai, Lower Denchira, and the Chufu Etimokwa district itself is divided by the river.
At a ceremony to reward school children for their hard work and academic successes, MP for Chufu Etimokwa, Abraham Juma Odum, says the roads and the bridge should be a national priority because of its importance.
I've talked to the Honorable Regional Minister of Western Region, who happens to come from the MP for Sevi also, and he has bought into the idea. So he and Boahi Edu Koko Board CEO, who also come from Wasekropon, are supporting me in the lobbying and then the networking that we are doing so far as that route gets improvement. Kakum National Park here. I mean, why should we MPs be talking about even that road? It's a national asset. We are talking about Kakum Park. It's one of the best projects, one of the best tourist attractions.
Abraham Juma Odum believes the transformation of the area and the building of the capacity of the people to go into agric and transform the district will be a difficult one if the bridge and the roads are not tackled. Richard Kojunyako, Joy News, Cape Coast.
To another part of the country now, where hundreds of residents of Dagbon this morning lined up on the streets of Kumbungu Tamale in the northern region to catch a glimpse of the spiritual journey of the paramount chief of Kumbungu, Na Abu Idrisu, to Yendi. The spiritual journey is a customary rite for chiefs on the skin of Kumbungu to participate in the final funeral of any deceased Yana. During the rite, the chief carries bees that are not to be seen by pregnant women. It's believed that the bees destroy pregnancy. Joy News' Northern Region correspondent Hashmin Mohammed witnessed the colorful event and has come through with this report.
Young and the old line up on the streets from Kumbungu to Tamale to witness the spiritual journey by the paramount chief of Kumbungu for the first time in 40 years. The chief and his entourage wielded arrows and musketry in war regalia, dancing to the throbbing beats of the gongong. He dressed in war regalia and on a horse with his warriors carrying the spiritual beasts, whilst others wield arrows and musketry, akin to a war situation involving the Gombes and any enemy. The spiritual preparations of the Kumbungu chief in this morning traditional event collapsed 3 horses he rode on the journey because they couldn't contain his spiritual powers, and he had to finally resort to a vehicle to Tamale. School children abandon class and join residents to watch the beautiful culture. They tell Joy News they are excited witnessing the spiritual journey for the first time in their life.
We feel so amazing and we are very excited to see this. So we hope that the band will be somewhere one day. We will all come together as one. Because the band is already one. So we are praying that God should not let them go and come back.
This is my first time seeing it. So I want to see how they are doing it. Maybe if sometimes I have a children, I'll explain to them how the thing is going. And we need this to see how the thing will go on about this.
Dagbound historians say whilst the Kumbunguna is on the journey, he commands the beast to attack any enemy who will come on his way to prevent him from getting to Yendi to perform the Yana funeral. Reporting for Joy News from Kumbungu, Hashmin Mohammed.
Interesting sight there. Now to another story where the president of the Ghana Bar Association, Anthony Forson Jr., has rubbished a rape allegation leveled against him by a feminist lawyer, Kukwa Andam. In a post circulating on social media, lawyer and feminist Kukwa Andam recounts how current president of the Ghana Bar Association forcefully had sex with her and dumped her in the United States in 2012. According to Kukwa, she has since suffered a lot emotionally and psychologically, which have affected her person. She says she has reported the case to the U.S. police, awaiting a charge to enable her demand justice. Let's take you through portions of that post, which has been making rounds on social media. So as you can see on her screen, she says that on the screen, she says that they never actually had sex. They were physically intimate. She used to call him T-baby. And he says he knows all these things and can admit them if he can be honest. She admits in the post also that she dated him because she needed money to pay for her school fees. Now, to the day where this thing actually happened, I'm going to the third paragraph. He told me to meet him at a hotel in the Washington, D.C. for rent money. She needed money for rent. It was close to school exams, but I went anyway. Remember that at this time, we hadn't actually had sex, but I told myself that I could just close my eyes and do it with a condom because I knew he was sleeping with many women. So they had been physically intimate, but they hadn't actually had sex. Then at least I wouldn't have to drop out of school. He told me he would arrange transportation for me. There are lots more details in there. She says, I lost my laptop in a taxi and arrived at the hotel crying my eyes out. All my lecture notes were on that laptop and meant that I would fail exams. Tony didn't care. So she continues to describe the incident. He says, as soon as I settled in, he asked for sex. I had already psyched myself up, so I asked him whether he had a condom. Now, remember earlier, she said that she was willing to do it with him if they had protected sex. But he said no. She pleaded with him. That's in her words, I pleaded with him to allow me to at least go get a condom, and he pinned me down and raped me. So she goes on to how it had an effect on her. And I'll go to the last paragraph. She said, as soon as I arrived in my room at the university, I cut off all my hair with a pair of scissors and threw away my nice clothes. Now, this was the second time she had been raped. So she says, I was so tired of being raped and mistreated by men that I wanted to be ugly so that no man would even want to have sex with me again or rape me again. I swallowed several sleeping pills that I had been prescribed by a therapist I'd been seeing to deal with the other rape incident. And that's the post that has been making rounds on social media. Let's hear her speaking to my colleague Maxwell Agbagba.
But I just still have memories of that day, just how it felt like to have him force himself on me, and just how I'm I'm sorry, just a minute.
Yeah, sorry.
So, sort of like how at that point in time, I just felt like my spirit had left my body, and I could just see myself, like it was as if I just couldn't deal with anything that was going on. And the fact that, I think for me, what terrified me was the fact that while it was all going on, I was even crying, and I was wincing in pain because, yes, I had gone there willing to go ahead with whatever, but I wasn't even ready for, what he did. And just I was in pain and he didn't even care. The days that, immediately I go home, I just remember that I cut off all my hair with scissors because I was telling myself that I don't even want to look attractive to a man again because I just can't have this happening to me. And then I went and took an overdose of sleeping pills. So this is something that is on record at Cornell University because the dean of the law school and then my professor then, I informed all of them. The deputy dean was informed, who informed the dean. It's something that has been recorded.
So the point you want to drum home is that although you went, there, you visited him, and you had an intent of having sex, you did not want to do it without a condom.
Exactly. I just want people to, and it's not even about the condom, it's just about the fact that you don't know why a woman will say no. It could be about the condom, it could be, I was someone that was dealing with trauma from rape already, and I needed time. It could be that she's in pain. I was in pain while it was going on. So you just can't say that just because a woman said that she has entered your room or she entered your room and is on your bed, then whatever you want is what happens. This is what I'm trying to communicate to people.
You call this, a fight for female lawyers in Ghana. You say you do not want the next generation of women lawyers to suffer what you went through. What did you go through as a woman who was a lawyer in Ghana then?
Just a lot of sexual harassment and from different quarters with especially the senior male lawyers. I narrated an incident where there was I was working in a law firm and my boss was flirting with me and his wife came there, and I have chosen not to mention the name of this lawyer. And I said, I've spoken about how it even started from law school with a professor that approached me that he wanted to date me, and I was terrified that I was going to fail that course. It was something that was weighed heavily on my mind the whole time. And then it continued to when eventually my national service at the legal aid scheme.
So that was Kukwa and they're speaking to my colleague Maxwell Agbagba. Now, in a press statement issued this morning, however, presidents of the Ghana Bar Association lawyers for Mr. Anthony Forson Jr. have denied the allegation, describing it as palpable falsehood, assuring of a response at the appropriate time. So let's get you details of that statement, and I have it here. It says here, our client Anthony Forson Jr.'s attention has been drawn to a post on one Miss Kukwa Andam's Facebook page that he committed an offense of rape against her sometime in 2012. Now he says, Mr. Forson sincerely and emphatically denies that he has committed any such offense against the said Miss Kukwa Andam. He maintains that the allegations are palpably false and in due course he will be vindicated. Mr. Forson would like to thank all those who have by various means shown concern and support for him and his family during this trying period. Signed by Bayo and co-lawyers for Anthony Forson Jr. You're still live on Joy News today with me, Daniel Daz. Still up ahead in the bulletin, the delegation of security operatives dispatched to the United Arab Emirates, UAE, to follow up on Namwan's arrest in a bid to begin diplomatic processes to get him back to Ghana, has arrived in Dubai. Also, President Akufo-Addo assures the commitment of his government to a strict fiscal discipline that will ensure economic stability. All that and more when we come back. Stay with us. Thanks for staying with us. Now, as security operatives arrive in Dubai for talks with authorities there for possible extradition of Menzi Gold owner Nana Appiah Mensah, aka Nam1, a law lecturer is predicting it will be almost impossible to secure his release. Nana Appiah Mensah, who is currently in their custody to be repatriated to Ghana. Now, Nam1 has been in the custody of the Dubai Security Authority for more than a month now, over a gold deal that went bad in that country. As we know, Nam1 is the most wanted man in Ghana for charges of defrauding by false pretenses and money laundering. My colleague Fred Smith joins me with more details. Fred, you have been following this from the very beginning. We understand the operatives have now arrived in Dubai. First of all, who are the members of this team?
Well, I cannot tell you the individuals, but there are representatives from IOCO, the CID, Interpol, and there's a deputy minister for for justice. That's Joseph Benka, who is part. And the reason why Joseph Benka is part of this delegation is to deal with any legal matter that might arise, because there's this negotiation is expected to lead to release of Nana Appiah Mensah so he can come home and face justice.
Now, this, of course, is still a developing story with so many moving parts, Fred, but what more have we gathered?
Well, nothing much except to say that this discussion, well, the team, they've arrived, and we are not sure if the discussions have started yet, but what I can say is that we are on the ground. We have a reporter on ground who's going to give us all the information as and when.
So they're expected to start these discussions sometime today?
Yes. It's unclear at this point if it has already started. Until we reach our reporters, we won't be able to state anything on record.
Right. Thanks, Fred, for bringing us those details of the membership of that team. Now, let's now hear a lawyer for one of the disgruntled customers of Menzi Gold, Amanda Clinton, who has been saying that this does not really end with the person Nana Appiah Mensah, and he's simply taking the fall for someone else's crime.
I have a criminal law background from London, and it's just, you know, it was very easy for a lot of Ghanaians to dismiss Nam1's operation on some levels, but it's a very, very sophisticated operation involving a lot of people. And in terms of execution, from the receipt, the contract could have been better written, but the fact that they kept on paying people constantly every month on the dot, and you know, the fact that their bank accounts seem to be used for things other than just, you know, these payments. It just seems that it's very much of a big operation, but he was sort of the face of it, whereas there might have been more of a machine. I mean, given his background, we can't perhaps give him all the credit for, like, you know, setting this up. You always need type. And it just seems very much that because he was in the public eye, whoever is behind him perhaps will not get this sort of attention. But even how he started operations, and he had the financing to sort of launch on a big scale, and he had, you know, a jet quite early on before he really started making money. It just suggests that he was the face of the operation. But quite sadly, if it is true that he was the face of the operation and other people were involved, he is very much going to be the fall guy in this situation. But, you know, a financial footprint might give us some idea of the full gravity.
Well, we'll go back to that story and give you some investment advice for if you want to recognize what sort of investment is right and wrong later in the bulletin. But there have been fears, largely caused by sentiments from the minority in Parliament, that a takeover of ECG by new managers will cause consumers to pay more for power. Now, the new managers, Power Distribution Services, have, however, through the ECG, made a request for a tariff charge of 23 pesos, which is less than the 30 pesos that ECG had charged for the year 2018. Ebenezer Baden is an energy economist at ECG.
Bulk power to the Power Distribution Services Ghana Limited. Then ECG will also sell power to customers identified across the boundaries or beyond the boundaries of Ghana. Now, PDS would take over ECG's assets, ECG leasing the assets to the PDS, and then PDS will look for capital, invest, expand in the assets, and then also do the maintenance operations, sell power to ECG's customers, and collect revenue on behalf of ECG.
And you mentioned that PDS is asking for a 23% increase.
No, PDS has made a submission for 23 pesos per kilowatt hour tariff. Now, PURC is doing its own assessment. Currently, also PURC is working, and the Ministry of Finance are working on the lease payments, what the lease payments will be. That is what will be paid to ECG. So that becomes the total tariff. But PDS is asking for 23 pesos.
How much is ECG charging for that tariff?
I wouldn't put as ECG, but currently the distribution charge is 30 pesos.
Now, some second cycle schools in Ashanti, Bono Ahafo and Western regions are responding to the Forestry Commission nationwide campaign on tree planting. It's part of efforts to restore Ghana's dwindled forest cover from 8.2 million hectares in the 1980s to 1.6 million hectares presently. Yasantua Girls and Osei Tutu, as well as Ola Girls Senior High Schools in Ashanti and Bonga Ahafo regions, are setting the pace with cultivation of various tree species of economic value. Ohiming Teria reports.
The importance of tree to man's survival cannot be quantified. Humans depend largely on oxygen produced by trees for survival, which gives credence to the saying, "When the last tree dies, the last man dies." A visit to Yasantua, Osei Tutu and Ola Girls Senior High Schools show cultivation by students of tree species like Cinderella, Oframo and Mahogany. Esiande Eshen Famiye is headmistress of Yasantua Girls Senior High School.
People are encroaching on our land. So once we have a vast land and they are doing the planting on it, that is, the land security is there. Then again, as a school, we use a lot of firewood. So that would also serve its purpose. When it's grown, we'll cut it and send it to the kitchen to be used. And apart from that, it grows in a form like a canopy. So when the students are hot weather, they can spread their mats and learn. So I think we are so grateful, first to the government, to the Forestry Commission, for extending their this useful exercise to our school. We have a vast land. Even if you need more, we can give you more. We have over 100 acres land. So we have plenty of spare land that you can use so that we can protect our boundaries, the school boundaries.
The Forestry Commission warns parents in particular to take up the challenge to plant and nurture trees. It has since June last year planted 10 million tree seedlings on 24,000 hectares of land nationwide. Chief Executive Kojo Owusu Afiye spoke with journalists on a visit to a seed orchard plantation site in Bibiani Forestry District.
So if you have 25 million Ghanaians, each person planting one tree, we will have 25 million trees, say, a year. Including those trees should be even be planted, more importantly, even for your child. If you are pregnant, even for the unborn child. So that you nurture it. When the child grows, you can take the child and say, this is your tree. When you were born, this is the tree that I planted for you on your birthday. So the child, you could go with your child with that pride. The child will even be holding water and watering. Let us nurture this into us, inculcate that spirit in all of us. And I think that if all Ghanaians buy into this, we would be able to have, say, 25 million trees in a year, and so on and so forth. Every year, just plant one, every year. And we shall all see the benefits that, trees, give to all of us. It has been said that when the last tree dies, then the last person also would die.
From Bibiani in the Western region for Joy News, Ohiming Teria reports.
Now, finally, follow a detailed plan, steer clear of high returns, and avoid trusting others blindly. These are but a few of the investment tips chartered accountant and investment banker Alhassan Mahama Idrisu wants you to follow in your quest to choose an investment scheme so you don't fall prey to a Ponzi one. Well, he has been sharing more on these investments and other tips on the Super Morning Show. Take a look.
The economy grows, let's say maximum 8%. This is not, I'm just giving an example. The inflation rate is 9.3. 182 is 14 point something. Maybe the highest government security is probably 2021 for government bonds of 2, 3, 7 years. If somebody is giving you 30, you have to be very, very careful.
30 a year?
Yes.
Oh.
You have to be very, very careful.
30 a year?
Because what kind of investment is available to give you 30 a year? Unless you want to do Ponzi's. Even 25 is still risky this time. Yes, 25 is very risky. Look at 3-4% above Treasury.
It's now time for business with Emmanuel Abuajibiafi. Stay with us.